And imagine yourselves performing music in front of 62,000 of people. You can hear it and imagine your name, what's in a piece of you as you step on stage. Suddenly, as you start playing music, you don't hear any noises anymore. They'll just be reached by your performance and just desire your music. That's the same feeling that Viktor Tsoi, one of the Russian rock artists, has been going through. Now, he hasn't been always that famous. He had to go through struggles and obstacles in order to achieve that status. And I'm a big fan of Viktor Tsoi myself. I have been familiar with his music since I was a little kid. And you know, when I was a kid, it was just noises and stuff. But as I grew older, his words had a deeper meaning in them. So I kind of became more attracted, and his music became more appealing to me as I grew older. I have also watched different interviews with Tsoi and about Tsoi, as well as the concerts, like videos from concerts about him too. So today I'm going to talk about Tsoi's early preference in arts, starting from early childhood, then about what he devoted his music to and who opposed his music, following by the contributions he made to the rock music in general and the society. So Viktor Tsoi is one of the greatest rock artists, as well as a pioneer of the genre. He also remembered and followed by the Russian youth even today. So he was born in Leningrad in 1962, in June 21st. His parents, his mom, well, she was Russian and his dad was Korean. So some people say that when different nationalities are mixed in, we get really talented people, and in this case, Tsoi is just a great example of that. So they saw him being talented, they enrolled him in these paint classes. He'd been out there for a couple of years, he didn't like that. He decided he wanted to play a musical instrument, but it turned out that his parents were pretty poor and they couldn't afford one. So when he was 13, they left on vacation for a month. Well, like out of town, no vacation, but out of town. And they left him 90 rubles, it's 90. And the very first day, what he did, he went to the store and bought his guitar for 87 rubles. So he had only like 3 rubles left for the whole month on expenses, which is like nowadays you can buy like 3 plastic cups on that, and back then you could buy like, I don't know, like you could survive for a couple of days, but not a month definitely. So he had to starve to deserve what he really wanted. Then, in an interview made by Rybkin, a Russian journalist, with Tsoi's parents, they mentioned that we remember the time when Tsoi would lock himself in the restroom so we couldn't hear and start practicing. At the time his voice was changing and he felt embarrassed because it sounded really high-pitched, kind of girly. So it kind of fascinated me that as great as Tsoi was, he started in this, you know, tiny, stinky restroom and just became as good as he could, you know. Years later, he mastered the art of playing guitar, and came up with a lot of songs of his own. So, but he also found out that his music wasn't, like, government wasn't following his music. In fact, he has been challenged by political persecution. So during that time, rock has been an underground movement. All the pop stars, they were giving all the grant money from a government, they were giving audio, like recording studios, housing, and on the other side, like rock bands, they were not being exposed to the media, they were not given any houses, you know, and in fact they had a stereotype that all the rock people are actually drug addicts and hooligans. And about the same time, Tsoi has been kicked out of the Artistic Academy. They say it's mainly because he's been playing rock music and they didn't like it, so he got kicked out. So his early songs were about life on the streets of Leningrad, love and hanging out with his friends. He also approached political topics, something that not a lot of people were willing to do. And one of his favorite, famous songs was, and I translated it to American, was like, "I declare my home a nuclear-free zone." Basically, it was popular at the time because of Afghan war, and it took lives of thousands of people, and so it became really popular. And it was an idol for a lot of youth people trying to make a change. They didn't see it right, they didn't see the right political style, let's say. So even though that he was a huge star, he still had his old job, which was at the boiler room at the apartment building, and it surprised a lot of people. That was mainly still didn't have any funding, so he had to support his Kino group by working there, I guess you could say. But sometime later in the 90s, 1990s, he had a big concert, 62,000 people. He finally achieved what he wanted to do, got popular and everything. But later that same year, he was killed in an accident, in a car accident, and that has impacted society in a variety of ways. He created the Wall of Fame in Moscow, which is one of those things. There's another one, and multiple monuments, such as this one right here, and him holding the guitar. And there's also asteroid named after him. So for those of your astronaut who wants to look at it, maybe in space or something, it's number 2740. So you should know. So he was really popular from early childhood. He liked art, and everything he did, he could achieve. If you guys can achieve it if you really wanted to. And Tsoi was a pioneer of Russian rock and who created large volume all across Russia and beyond. And I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from a famous political leader, Trotsky. This was put in the Komsomolskaya Pravda, Russian newspaper, saying that Tsoi means more to young people of our nation than any politician, celebrity, or writer. This is because Tsoi never lied, never sold out. He was and remains himself. It is impossible not to believe him. Tsoi is the only rocker who has no difference between his image and his real life. He lived the way he said. Tsoi is the last hero of rock. Right? So.